Alright, I think I got my video issue fixed. I think my videos were actually saving onto my internal drive, making or taking up too much freaking memory, and it wasn't going to my SD card where I have lots of memory. So I think the problem solved. Let's see if I can get through my video more than 3 minutes because I got a lot to say. I usually take 20 minutes to talk. So here we go. I don't. I'm trying to remember what I showed last time on the update. I don't think a lot of this was actually done. I don't think I had a lot of this cleaned out, to be honest. When I showed you guys, I think I had a little bit of the wood done, and you could see the bed frame and stuff. But now everything's done. I got the bed moved in here. We got the heater. We got the cooler. We got the stove. We got electricity up here. I got all the solar panels up. We'll go out in a minute and I'll show you. Um, but yeah, you can see I got all my wood up. I don't have a little couple chunks done actually over here and then right here. I don't have that finished up. But for the most part, I got a lot of this done and finished up. I even got the wheel well encased, so that's actually going to be a bench once everything is kind of like the Earthship is finished. Because right now it's just like a studio apartment in here, basically. We got the food, not the bathroom. The bathroom's not in here. We just got the stove, and like the water and stuff, So, it's a little bit of the shelving and stuff like that. I got some of my garden stuff in here, but we got everything that we needed from the Earthship up here. Got our nice little bed, so. But yeah, I got all that, most of the wood done, and basically what's happening here is I didn't finish this because this essentially is going to get all taken out. Like I'm cutting out this whole wall essentially, but it's more the windows is where I'm cutting it out. I'm cutting this half the camper chunk out, and basically at the bed line, the window line kind of deal. But what's happening here is I'm replacing all that with glass. All this is getting replaced with windows. So I'll have the view, excuse me, basically of out in the greenhouse, or both the greenhouses in the Earthship, and then, my view outside and stuff as well. So that's a little bit of what's going on. And then I don't think, the last time I didn't show, but yeah, I got the light beaming in like I'm in heaven or something like that. That's trippy. It's pretty nice outside. But what I got going on here is I actually just took the old frame of the door, which it's just metal, like these metal bracket kind of pieces that just screwed into wood. The wood on the old door was just complete shit and just garbage and just trashed. The door handle was barely on. So I took all of that apart. I made my own frame, did all my measurements, which wasn't too difficult because the frame is there. You just gotta cut all the pieces at the right size into it. So that's all I did, and then I got my picket boards on both sides. I know you can see light through it. It's not completely insulated or anything like that. All it is just a door, at least, a piece that can serve as some kind of security. I can lock that door handle and stuff like that when we leave. So that's all it really is. Because it's not like we have cameras on our phones that we can see who's coming up here and stuff like that if we got to go into town and whatnot. And there's been random people that have come up here, and we didn't know they were coming, and some people have come up when we're gone and stuff like that. And so we don't have like a fence coming down our road, to separate our property or to, keep vehicles out or anything yet. So that it's kind of just open range for people if they choose to drive up. So at least I have the door that we can lock, when we leave. So that's mainly all that door serves as a purpose. I mean, I got a lot of screws in there. I made that frame pretty well. I think it's about a foot. I got every screw, something like that. I tried not to make it too rinky, so it's not like someone can just kick it right in. It'll take someone a minute to bust through that door. So there's at least that. But what'll end up happening is that it's about there that'll get cut off, and that's glass. And I think I might try and extend out the door, and I might do sliding glass because I won't stick to that door frame. That door frame will get kind of taken out, and I'll do something, build some kind of frame on the outside to make, either for a glass door or for a sliding glass kind of deal. But I'm not too concerned. That's still in the future here a little bit. Still got to pound the tires out there. I'll get there in a second. But yeah, for right now, this is where we're sleeping, and we got the nice. I kept that window at least so we'd get some more light in here. I think I might end up covering that up because the backside, outside, like where the tires are, you can see, all that is going to get backfilled, or, I'm just going to have fill on the inside of there of dirt and whatnot in between the camper and the tires a little bit. Since I got all this kind of, the framing up and all this wood and stuff, I should be able to berm in between the tires and not pack it too tightly to kind of, and not like bulge this thing out too ridiculous, but just to pack it. And then that's just another like piece of insulation basically, and heat absorption, that dirt will take, and then the tires behind it. So it's just more insulation. Should hopefully keep it more warm in here. That's the main goal of this Earthship that I really wanted to try and achieve, was really trying to get this at least 65 or 70 degrees year-round without my fire going. The other Earthship is pretty good. It's not all the way done, I'll give it that. But it is on the cooler side, but it's still, I mean, the wintertime, it was negative 40, those negative 40 days we had here. The Earthship was still 45, 50 degrees without the fire going. So I'd say that Earthship did pretty dang well, even without everything being completed on that Earthship. And that's including like the roof, pretty much for the most part. It doesn't have all of the insulation up. So the fact that thing still, 50 degrees is cold to some people. Yeah, I get that. It's a lot better than negative 40 outside, We don't always have to wear t-shirts and shorts inside the house. You can sweatpants, sweatshirt, that can be comfy too. And then having a fire going. Everyone's living their own way though. But that's kind of what's going on now. But we're living up here, and I am just working away. I got my katanas ready for battle. But yeah, what's going to end up happening is there'll be a cushion on this bench here. And I left this board unscrewed because I'm going to put hinges on it, and that's where all my socks and stuff are going to go, actually, in there under the wheel well. I kind of got, yeah, there's just a bunch of stuff up here, kind of, some Anika's stuff. But, oh yeah, and the heavy cooler that's on it too. Yeah, let me just consider that. But this flips up, and then all that space, like where the wheel well is right there, I brought this out a little bit. So basically this board is the width, and there's a little bit underneath this board, but that's all the space I have for stuff. I can put a bunch of socks and whatnot in this corner and stuff like that. So that's what I built that for a little bit. And, for sitting, because eventually we sit down, and that's where the TV and stuff is going to be. So, and then when we're trimming and stuff, it'll be probably more than likely in here. So this is kind of a nice, scoot over, nice little comfy little area for, on this bench, I think I can fit 3 people with good elbow room, 4 people if we were just kind of hanging out. But 3 people more indefinitely if we're like trimming, or if you're just like gaming and just kind of chilling, maybe, or something like that. And you got some room to kind of spread out, 3 people comfortably. If that cooler wasn't there, that's that extra space. But I got plenty of space. Dang, we could probably fit 5 people on this maybe. But for now, it's just got the stove and whatnot, all of our essentials. It's pretty much just a studio apartment at this point right now, minus we just don't have the bathroom and sink in here. The sink's right out the door. But we got the stove, and we got the little buddy heater right there that we were using for those cloudy days. It was a little chilly up here. It was like 35, 40. It's a little chilly. I mean, we went through worse in the tent, but it was a little chilly. So, and it's nothing to turn that dang heater on. More than plenty of propane, and it takes 20 minutes to heat this place to 60 degrees anyway. So, it stays pretty insulated in here, but it's still a camper, and it's not a house. It's not like super insulated or anything. But once those tires go up, this thing, I'm really hoping that this like little, room kind of is a little more encased, kind of like with the tires and the roof and stuff like that. So that's why I'm trying to hope for that 65, 70 degree year round kind of deal. Because if I can at least keep it in here 65, 70 all year round, I mean, this is where I sleep and I hang out, where the TV, the electronics will be anyway. I mean, be paradise. So, let me put my boots on. A little bit from the back corner. I know some people might not agree with our propane cylinder there and our buddy heater, but it's temporary. That thing's gonna get moved out here soon. It's getting hot, so we're not gonna need that anymore. It's just for those cloudy days when it was a little chilly. But you can see I have all the camper for the most part done with all my wood and stuff like that. So it's got a nice little cabiny feel, and I like that cabiny feel with the wood and stuff like that. The wood smells really nice too. It smelled really good when I first got it. It was super wet and it seemed like more fresh or something, fresh cut. Yeah, just a little view there. But then I'll end up doing kind of something similar on all this. Whoever owned this before, they painted this all blue before, and they were kind of working on this. But I'm going to end up matching all this wood to this, and it'll all kind of come together. I'm going to make more shelving in here, maybe redesign all this. That bottom box there, that actually is cut off because the outside of the camper has that little latch, that little cubby hole out there. So I thought about actually just cutting that out and using that cubby hole, because the outside, here, we'll go outside, because where that box is, see, I got it buried right there. That's where that box is. But that's getting buried basically behind the tires. So I might end up just cutting that out and using that cubby hole, which will be cool. But we got some nice sunshine today. We're coming out of that cloudy shit that we had, and that 50 degree weather from, we went from like high 60s and 70s, and then it had that week and a half, almost 2 weeks of just 50s and super cold, and it was raining a little bit. I mean, we weren't too windy, but too rainy, but it was windy and sprinkly, and it, made for not wanting to go outside. Well, it made us not really want to go outside, just how muggy and stuff. But yeah, I got these tires, so this row will be almost done. I've got all these tires and all filled up about halfway is what I do, and then I just keep going down the line, just filling them up a little bit, so I don't have to fill up as much, and I can just keep hopping to each tire without making too many wheelbarrow trips. Over, you can see my shovel sticking out. That's where I've been digging at those mounds from the greenhouses. Been digging out that dirt, and over there too, and using it for the tires. Nika's doing some cleanup over there. Some much needed organization. But I have a guy, hopefully, that's actually going to bring a skid steer up, and we did a work trade where he's going to move all of that dirt, all of that nice dirt for me, and he's going to move it over here with the skid steer for a day, I think. I think it should only take him a day. I mean, you just see that little mound, but that mound keeps wrapping around, and it goes back really far. So we dug out a lot of dirt from these greenhouses, which I'm going to use, because we needed to clear out all that from around the greenhouses anyway to make room so we can do fencing and stuff around that. So, but you can see I got all my security cameras up, so I know who's coming. I got you on camera. I got my security light up so I can see you at night too. But my cameras do have infrared, so I can still see you at night. We got all the solar panels up here. I got all 16 of them up here. Moved them, so we got all the electricity we need, especially with this sun beaming like this. I mean, right now I'm on full, the batteries are full, and we're just running on just what the panels are producing from the sun right now. So we're not using anything from the batteries till the sun goes down, essentially. So and I got enough power. I got my cloner going. I'm experimenting a little bit with full shaded light on these clones. In the other Earthship, I already had kind of going. The light would come on a couple hours in the morning, and it would come on at night. But during the midday, pretty much after 10 o'clock, I think I had the lights turn off. After 10 o'clock, it's basically just the indirect light that was getting into the greenhouse, and I was growing a bunch of clones. So I'm going to experiment this time, which I'm pretty competent, and I'm pretty sure that these are going to root, and I'm going to have some good clones. But it's still a little bit of an experiment because I don't have any T5s over it at all. I'm just going basically off of the sunlight, off of the sun cycle. And I do have my little black trash bag over top to just make shade because they can't have the direct light. I already had kind of experienced that from the other Earthship already, because where the cloner sat, it sat right next to a window, and during the certain time of day when the sun beamed right in to that part of the window right on the clones, everything got super wilty, like it was all dying. So it was too much sun, too much light. So I kind of learned that they need the shade. They can take the shade, and not have, they don't need a whole bunch of light. They're more focused on building the roots and stuff like that right now. So they only need that little bit of light so they can, help produce and get going the roots. But they don't need much. So I mean, that's why, sitting in the shade, that's why I'm pretty positive I'm gonna get 100% success. I usually do out of the clone machine. So I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get roots from all my clones I've taken. And I think I'm hoping that the benefit actually will be that they'll be more acclimated to the sunlight, as opposed to the ones, coming off the T5s inside. They need a little bit more time to acclimate to outside. Like, you got to have them more in the shade, whereas these might just need a couple days in the shade, or like, a couple hours in the shade, and they get some sunlight, for a couple days, and then they can take full sun. But either way, I'm really thinking that these will be way more acclimated to the sunlight in general, and they'll just take off right away, as opposed to kind of getting stagnant and then kind of coming around after getting used to everything. So we'll see. We'll come back to that. But I got my stuff plugged in. I got the air pump, so I'm able to pump my barrel of tea right there, get my microbes going with my compost tea. And then I got my worm bin right here. I'll be able to add my worm compost, or my worm casting soon. I actually took a big chunk of the worms and some of the stuff from the other barrel inside the Earthship. So there's this barrel and another barrel of red wiggler worms, basically. And I'm pretty sure that I've got a good amount. I could split another barrel out of that other barrel, because these worms grow so freaking fast. I think I need to water this barrel. This top little bit is dry. But yeah, so I'm still doing up here. We got a little bit of the worm farming going. Not to be gross, that's our bathroom buckets. It's just toilet paper. It's nothing too gross. We got our bucket. So it's all under cover at least. A little bit better off than we were in the tent. When we first started out, we were just digging holes, to be honest. So now we at least have our compost bucket and our compost area where we put all of that. Not to get too in-depth or gross with people, but I mean, that compost pile does pretty freaking well. We do put food and stuff in it once in a while, stuff that's gotten like super moldy or something maybe we put in that pile. But for the most part, it's just like the peat moss and whatnot. But I'd go over to that compost pile. It's a little ways away. It's a little walk. But to be honest, there was stuff last year growing in it, and I'm pretty sure I saw grass growing in the compost pile. So I don't think there's anything wrong with the way we're doing our compost bucket, for our bathroom and whatnot, at least from what I'm seeing. It's not super stinky over there either, so I'm pretty sure it's composting pretty well. It's got plenty of air, and it's breaking down really nice. It's going to make some good soil for ornamentals, not fruit stuff yet. I don't think I'm ready for any of that quite that humanure stuff or whatever. Maybe if we start getting more of the biochar going, but for right now it's just like the peat moss and whatnot. So I'll just let the native plants and stuff get at that. Shrubs and bushes, stuff I'm not eating necessarily. So, but I got all the batteries. You can see we got charge controllers going. I'm actually waiting on the little bit of money, and then I'll upgrade to the big box where it's all just one. Instead of having my 4, it'll just be one charge controller that'll be able to handle all the panels and give me a more accurate reading of the battery stats and all that other stuff. But right now we got all the batteries on a pallet underneath the camper. Stays pretty cool underneath the camper, as well as there's a good amount of airflow that comes underneath the camper. So sweeping all that hydrogen gas and putting it out, so it's not building up or anything. So we're not in any danger of blowing up anything like that. There's the inverter. We got everything plugged in. We got more than enough power. I mean, we could plug a lot of stuff in. Oh shoot, I just saw a coyote out in that field. But that's I think I've kind of touched up on everything right now. All of our panels. There's not too much else really to update on right now. I actually need to get more tires. I'm out of these 265 tires, so the only problem I'm running into is I need more tires for my layer, and then I'll be able to start using a little bit smaller tires, working my way up. I have all those ones back there, but those are all smaller size, and when you're building the Earthship, you need, like, your row, it all needs to be consistent, like similar tires and whatnot, basically, so you're not throwing off the leveling and stuff. So that'll be easy. We're hopefully talking to a guy that actually he dropped off a huge trailer load of all these tires before and picked up a lot of our trash. So we had just been talking to him, so we're going to have him come up again and bring us another huge load of the tires, because I guess the tire world loves when he comes to do that. They said they were pretty grateful that he just took all those tires. They don't have to bring them to the dump or anything. So we'll wait on that, and he'll pick up a little bit more of the trash that Nika's kind of organizing. Stuff that's like blown around. There's a couple things the dogs kind of ripped open and just spread everywhere that we're trying to clean up. And we're up top. So when the wind blows, everything blows down the hill, basically, is what happens. So we at least have a natural kind of, like, barrier. So, shit's not blowing way, way over there, so we don't have to feel as bad. Everything's pretty much staying on our property. It just kind of goes down the hill. But it's just a matter of taking the time to pick it all up and organize it and whatnot. So it's just a lot of old stuff, because we're definitely we've cut back a lot on, like, our trash and all that stuff. Just mainly plastics is, like, the packaging is what we mainly, like, have in our trash bin. It's just mainly all the packaging from stuff. Other than that, we utilize a lot of, like, the bottles that we get, or, that we're drinking from, like plastic bottles and stuff. A lot of other stuff, it's compostable. So we try to utilize a lot of our stuff. It's really just the plastic stuff that we have problems with, because there's not too many practical uses for it, other than maybe stuffing it into another plastic bag and then concreting over it into a tire or something, which is what I've been kind of trying to promote. So when we have spare tires from not building on the Earthships and stuff, we'll probably end up making, like, benches and whatnot, stuffing tires full of plastic trash and then just concreting over it. So, but I brought up the raspberry bush from the Earthship. It's got a little bleached from the intense sun, and that's what happens when you bring stuff from indoors and bring it right to outdoors. You get that bleaching. So you have to be really careful. This raspberry bush, it's going to survive. It hits a good amount of leaves, but it's still got a lot of good green on it. So it'll be fine. I've been watering it and giving it tea and stuff. So it'll come back, and then it'll be nice and acclimated to the outside, and it'll be ready to plant outside, because yeah, I went right into this pot. It was outside a little bit last year, and then it's been brought in. It was brought in through the whole winter, and it just got brought out like 3 or 4 days ago. So it had been sitting in the shade a little bit, so it wasn't completely acclimated. But excuse me, it'll make it. She'll make it, and she'll produce some nice fat raspberries. Yeah, that grapevine in the Earthship's going crazy too. I'll probably have to do a separate update with some of the craziness going on in there, maybe. But for right now, this is what we got going on. Just working away on the tires. Pretty much that's what's going to be going on, is just the work on the tires until we get the tires up. And then we can start doing the roof, basically, and start framing out the roof over the camper and whatnot. So, I'm just working away on the garden and stuff back there, getting stuff planted for Oasis Organics, as well as planting some vegetables and some, what else? What did I plant? I planted some summer squash over there and some kale. What else? I think that was it for right now. But I also got my cover crops and stuff going too. So I'll have to give another update with some of that stuff included. But I at least wanted to talk about all the stuff that's kind of been done for now. This is all that's really been updated. So this is about what we're going to see for a little bit until I get the rest of the tires pounded and leveled out. And we get started on the roof for this thing, because I'm ready to start catching some rainwater off of this thing. This will be awesome. So, plenty of power, but I got some garden work to do, some transplanting. It's nice out. We got some clouds just rolling away, but I think we're moving into summertime here. So, we'll get at everybody with an update here soon from the Oasis up here, Green Tree Organics. Green. Well, we grow the green, but it's Grow Tree Organics. Peace.